Are we live? We're live.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Okay to Be Broken. Just trying to figure out how this works.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So, sorry we're a little later than usual today, but that's okay. We can go live anytime we want. We had lots to do today, so here we are now doing our live session. And we thought we would talk about one of the comments we actually received on yesterday's video.
we wanted to respond to it.
Because we thought it was important that it be brought to everybody's attention that sometimes we forget that losing somebody is not necessarily, like, the grieving part is not necessarily just once that person is gone. Especially if it's somebody that's with an illness that you are supporting and so on, like a terminal illness. There's a lot of things that you and that individual shared beforehand that you're no longer able to do as that individual is moving towards their passing, and that affects the person supporting that individual. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of touched a little bit on that as well.
Well, we wanted to acknowledge that comment and to kind of expand on it too. There's so many things surrounding the death of a loved one that we end up losing that isn't always readily apparent, or that other people don't see. I know that when my son died, he was 5 months old, and for me, it's kind of a secondary loss was I had made some friends during my pregnancy and for the first few months of his life, where they also had young children and newborns, and we kind of bonded over that, and we had a bit of a group going. And after Caleb died, that was something that I couldn't bring myself to attend anymore. And those people, it's not that they weren't supportive at all or didn't want to be there for me. It was too painful for me to be there. So that's another example of something that we can kind of lose around the death of a loved one that is related to the loss, but doesn't have to do specifically with missing them entirely. And so the comment was around already missing the person before they had left, and feeling like there was a sense of comfort that was, how I understood it anyway, was that there was a sense of comfort that was already missing before they had actually physically left. And this is something that when we're supporting someone who is going through grief, being there to be able to listen and to lend an understanding ear, and to be aware that it encompasses a lot more than we can physically see ourselves and we might entirely realize on our own, and to just have a lot of compassion and grace for people as they continue to move through these circumstances where it just touches on so much.
Yeah, it definitely is much more than just the loss of the person itself. It's life-changing on so many different levels.
Yeah.
It's something to be aware of, like Krista said, when you are engaging with those individuals, because not only did they lose that person, but they lost a whole way of life.
Yes.
And it's hard enough to adapt to losing that person, but now having to adapt to a whole new way of life. For example, in the comment, it was indicated that just hearing her spouse say that things would be okay, that was comforting. And not having that now, that individual now has to find a way to be able to do that for herself, or find resources or individuals to help her find that sense of okayness. So that's a big change in somebody's life, which we may not notice, we may not see, like Krista said, but these are all little things that we I think as we move through different types of losses and we engage with different people that have experienced losses, we get to learn, and it makes us that much better of a support for that individual, because we recognize that it's not just a person that's lost, it's a whole way of living, a whole way of being, that now they're having to reconstruct, for lack of a better word, for themselves.
Yeah.
Anything
Well,
else?
that kind of goes along with finding a new normal after someone dies as well. And things don't go back to the way they were, and we can't replace that sense of comfort the same way. It would have to be with something different, and that's something that does take time. So we really, really appreciate your comments. We do read them and respond to them, and they definitely are things that we treasure and we cherish, because we know how difficult it can be and how much courage it takes to put those comments out there, because that is showing a lot of vulnerability. So thank you to everyone who did comment. We really appreciate that, and we want to respond to all of the comments as well. So we'll continue to do that in the days to come. So thanks again.
Thank you again, and thanks for your braveness, like Krista said, for posting that out there, because I feel that it will help other individuals as well, to see that, to hear the message that we just posted about it, and know that we are always sending our thoughts and our love, to everybody that is going through any type of grieving whatsoever, because it's not something that's fun to go through by yourself. And if you have any questions or any comments, or there's something specific that you'd like for us to talk about, please do leave us a comment. If you don't want other people to see your comment, feel free to send us a message, a private message instead, and we can we'll respond to those as well, and then we can see if we can absolutely make that one of our live topics of our conversation.
Or not, if you're not comfortable
right
with that.
Or
I mean, we're
exactly.
not going to say names or anything like that at all, but yeah,
but we do appreciate you guys, and thank you again for all of the comments, and we will chat again tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All
Take
right.
care.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.